Howdy y'all, this is Kickstand with Good Guys Gear. We're going to be doing a basic review today of my Bulgarian Makarov. You can see the gun is safe, no magazine in it. First off, it has an 8-round magazine. For some reason I told you, if you watched the Go Big or Go Home video, I accidentally said that it holds 7 rounds. I don't know why I did that. It has a double action, single action trigger. The single action trigger pull is very, very soft and smooth. I would not describe it as crisp, but it's nice. The double action trigger pull is very heavy and long. It's still smooth. I would not describe it as gravelly. The safety doubles as a decocker. You can see when you flick it on that it decocks the gun. You cannot cock the gun with the safety on. You cannot rack the gun. You cannot pull the trigger. It locks the gun completely down. It has a last shot lockback with a bolt drop. It does have a loaded chamber indicator. The extractor protrudes a little bit when the gun is loaded. That pretty well covers the basic functions of the gun. As far as carrying the gun, the safety kind of limits the ways that you can carry it. Cocked and locked is not an option because the safety doubles as a decocker. You can either carry it really safe, safety on, uncocked. When you draw it, you need to flick the safety off. To me, that's kind of slow. I personally prefer to carry it safety off and decocked. You know, the trigger pull is so long and heavy. I would say that it's longer and heavier than the trigger pull on, say, a Glock. So I don't see that as being any less safe than carrying a Glock. Also, the gun passed California drop test, so as far as worrying about it going off for no reason, it's not. It's perfectly safe to carry this way. It would be unsafe to carry it safety off fully cocked. It has too light of a trigger pull for that. It's a really good concealment gun. Well, it's really easy to conceal, I should say. As far as being a viable modern concealment pistol, there are some things. It's heavy. You know, it's a full steel-on-steel gun. A lot of people aren't going to like that. It's not the most common round out there. It's 9x18. It's just a little bit heavier than 380. 380 is 9x17. And it's a lot less powerful than 9mm Luger. The ammo that's available for it is really cheap. It's very affordable. You can get Hornady Critical Defense for it, and it runs this ammo great. I'm not much of a Critical Defense fan, but this gun does great with Critical Defense, and I'd say it's probably the best carry ammo available for it. There are some things about it that are difficult. You can see the sights. It has a very thin front blade, a very small notch in the rear sight. I don't know how well you can see that. That makes it really hard to shoot the gun fast. You know, you saw earlier I was having a little bit of trouble. Well, no, I have a little bit of trouble double tapping. I guess we haven't shot in this video yet. Or transitioning between targets. You know, you can see this SIG P230 has a lot larger sights. The sights are a lot easier to get on, and also the grip angle is a little bit slanted back, more like a modern grip angle. So if you're used to carrying a Glock or any modern carry pistol, something with that grip angle would be easier for you. This has a straight up and down grip angle. I almost think it would be easier for somebody who is familiar with the 1911 to get used to this gun. There's not a ton of aftermarket support for it. It pretty much is what it is. I would say if you're looking for a modern, lightweight concealment gun that has aftermarket support, and you can put lasers and all sorts of stuff like that on it. This wouldn't necessarily be the best gun for it. What I will say about it, it is a super sweet, high quality gun as far as fit and finish, as far as appearance and just being a classy carry pistol. If you want something that is at all similar to this as far as fit and finish, or as far as just aesthetic appearance, you're looking at getting, a CZ Compact, a Kimber Micro, some sort of a SIG or something like that that's going to cost you, $600-700. These you can get a hold of unissued for about $350, or at least I could when I got this. This is a Circle 10 gun. It's the most common Bulgarian Makarov you'll get. That's my general impressions of the gun. It's not a modern gun, but it is a perfectly reliable, accurate, and really classy looking gun. I enjoy it.
Alrighty, going on to talk about the Makarov. This is not a gun that I've spent a lot of time shooting with. I've been around it a lot because he's had it for some time, and a lot of my impressions about it would be the same as far as being an older type gun. The grip angle, like he said, I've actually, back when I carried a Glock all the time, it was horrible for me. Since I started carrying a CZ75, which has a lot steeper of a grip angle, it's actually a better gun for me. The biggest thing that I would say about this gun is kind of like the SKS that we have out here for mood lighting. This is a gun that I wish they would have continued on to do more with. Which, the Soviets were kind of bad about that. I feel like the SKS should have carried on and been modified into something more along the lines of the VZ58 and more widespread. I feel like now we would have a better set of guns available to us if the SKS had been modified than if the AK had been developed and the SKS left as a 1940s service rifle. And I feel the same way about the Makarov. For instance, this gun, similar size, was designed for the European police, so it went through rigorous testing as far as reliability and durability and longevity and all of that. And with the exception of the safety, it's functionally very similar. Still has the heel magazine release. A few things it doesn't have: no external slide drop, and as I said, no safety. So there's no way to lock it up, which is, that's a personal preference thing, whether you want a safe gun or you want to be ready to rock and roll. That said, some of the things about this gun, if they were applied to the Makarov, I would say the Makarov would suddenly become a monumentally better gun. Like the sights, I would say, would probably be the number one thing that I would change. If the Makarov had a wider modern combat post and groove, that would do so much for it, because it's lower recoil. Honestly, it has a better trigger, considering that the SIG 230 was last sold as like a $700 or an $800 gun. It's got a lousy trigger. It's also very complicated to take apart. There are a lot of little parts in there, and the slide, you have to press out roll pins if you want to remove the firing pin and so on. The Makarov, it's hard to believe how many functions its lockwork performs with how few parts there are there and how easy it is to disassemble. So it's one of those guns where I want it to be a world-class pistol because of a lot of the features that it has, but unfortunately its development ended as basically its first iteration. or not iteration, that's not right, but as its first version. And so it's a gun I feel like there's so much potential there. I believe that Baikal still makes a Makarov, or they did up until recently, and it's not going to be as nice as an old military version, but it did have larger sights and so on, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I wish that they had done more with it, because I really like it as a gun. It's low recoil, it's accurate, it's got a great trigger, it's unbelievably simple. So, you know, I just wish there was more. But we're going to go out and shoot it some, and probably talk about it a little bit while we're running it, and then you'll get to see it in action. It'd just be a world's better gun. I enjoy shooting it. It's low recoil. When you settle in, it's accurate, but trying to shoot fast like that, they just really kind of take away from it.
Howdy there. I just wanted to talk a little bit about shooting this gun. Today, I'm not doing very well with it. I'm also trying to shoot a little bit faster with it. I talked about how it's not that great for that, like he said, because of the sights. The sights just don't lend themselves to that. This is a target that I took for this was not my carry test target. This was practicing for my carry test. I think I set this up at like 10 or 12 yards. This is 50 shots. My carry test target was basically the same, except there were no freestanding rounds. You know, a little bit closer up, but it was just a hole torn out of the center. So if you're really into just standing and shooting at a still paper target, it's great for that. You know, you can kind of graphically see that it's not the best thing in the world for fast tactical shooting. So stuff like that. So I'm just gonna run a few more rounds through it here.
So anyhow, guys, there it is. Neither one of us were at our best with it today, but that's kind of, it's a gun that you really have to be feeling it to be on with, or really take your time with. But anyway, great gun. It's reliable. It's fun to shoot, and they're affordable. The ammo's affordable. So if you want to just have something that you can go out and plink in the yard with, then go ahead. And if it's a gun that just absolutely works for you, then you've got a bulletproof, reliable, easy to maintain weapon. So anyhow, that's the Makarov. We've been on a pretty decent Soviet roll here with AKs and Mosin-Nagants and stuff. So eventually we'll throw in something else. But anyhow, comment, subscribe, make fun of us, do what you need to do. It is Alrighty in Kickstand with Good Guys Gear. Thanks for watching.